Good evening and welcome to The Journey is Real with Ride Out Cancer, episode number 4. I'm Sheila.
I'm Marianne.
I'm Brittany.
I'm Stacy.
And we have a special guest this evening, Miss Dawn Bradbury.
Hello.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Dawn's going to talk to us in a little bit, for a little bit about her grandbaby, who is a now cancer survivor. Thank God.
Yes.
Absolutely. To tell you a little bit about Ride Out Cancer, we are an organization to help take care of cancer patients while they're going through treatment. And there you go.
And as you notice, we all have our mask on tonight, and that's for Dawn, so that because she does have the grandbaby that is a cancer survivor now, so we all are wearing our masks.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have the Journey's Real.
I know, I'm loving these new masks.
Yeah.
Sporting the new merch.
Yeah.
And also, you notice that Bethany is not here tonight, and we also do not have Tammy with us tonight.
Yeah. Bethany's off to school on a new adventure, and Tammy's not feeling well this evening, so we wish her well, and I love you.
We miss you.
Okay, Dawn, if you could take us on your journey.
Okay, so my granddaughter was born on February 2nd of last year. On April 29th, right around that time frame, my daughter noticed what looked like a mosquito bite on the back of her leg. So they ended up taking her. At this point, she was living in Colorado. So they took her to the hospital in Colorado, and they did a PET scan and an MRI or CT scan, and they said that she would need sclerotherapy because it was a genetic mutation on her leg. And they recommended that she move here and go to Cincinnati Children's Hospital. When she got to Cincinnati Children's Hospital, based on the information from the previous hospital, they decided to put a drain hole in the back of her leg to relieve the fluid that was in it. So they did that close to the end of June, and a week later they had her come back just so they could look at it and see the progression. Well, it wasn't draining. So they did another a PET scan or one of the scans, and at that point they found out that it was an undifferentiated sarcoma. So she started chemotherapy in July, and at this point she's 5 months old, and she's starting with chemotherapy. So she was given chemotherapy in August, the month of August, and then on October 12th, they did a leg amputation. So they amputated her leg all the way right above her knee. She actually had her last chemo treatment on November 21st. January 21st of this year, she was in remission. Yay!
Yay! That's wonderful.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, it's been a ride. Actually, yesterday, so she turned 1 on February 2nd, obviously. She was on WDRB and she was featured. So they came to the house and interviewed mom and dad. So that was on February 2nd. And then yesterday, I actually got to go to the doctor with them and get her fitted for her sleeve for her prosthetic. So she should be up and walking with her brother and sister.
That's awesome.
In the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'd say.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's been quite a journey, and I'm telling you what, there were many times where I sat down and cried because I didn't know what to do. And, uncertainties and stuff. But Ride Out Cancer is a great organization, even if it's only for emotional support. Because I tell you what, if I needed somebody to talk to, I could text Sheila and she'd talk to me in a minute.
Yes.
So, I'm just thankful that I had people there to listen to me, to kind of help me through stuff. I mean, because my daughter was unable to work, and during this time frame because they couldn't leave the baby and they were spending so much time in the hospital. So I mean, there's been helping hands that have kind of stepped up and during this time, and it's so appreciative to have an organization such as yours.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Yes.
that. Now, if you guys out there, if you all have any questions that you want to ask, feel free to look at that number. It's down at the bottom. This way. like I'm sideways. I'm not used to being on this side. So this way, there's a number down at the bottom. Give us a call. We can talk to you. You can talk to us. Or if you're going through a similar situation, you want to share your story of, it's rough when anyone goes through cancer, but when it's a child and it's so close to your heart, it's even that much more heart-wrenching, and you just never know what's going to happen from one day to the next. And it's just, the journey is real when it comes to babies. But I remember seeing pictures and photos of this kid. I'm telling you.
She kept a smile on her face.
Yes,
Oh,
she
So
yeah.
the
did.
picture of her, well, she's not really smiling there, but she did. She smiled. That was actually her first birthday, so she came over and of course grandma was
Yeah.
gonna have a first birthday outfit for her. But yeah, I mean she didn't act like she was going through anything.
No.
It did
Wow.
not affect her. She was smiley, but I can tell you that once she finished up with chemo and stuff, we really got to see her personality. So
Yeah.
I mean, she was tired, she was a baby, so she didn't do a whole lot.
Right.
And she didn't feel good other than just lay around. But you could tell, once it was completed, right before she went in for the most recent PET scan, that she was feeling so much better. She was
Wow.
smiley, she was talkative. I showed Sheila a picture of her. She grabbed some pudding that her mom had put out today, and she was putting it on her legs like lotion. So I mean, she's taken to. It's like nothing even happened.
Right.
And it's
Kids are so resilient.
And they
but
really
still,
are.
It's wow.
They
yeah.
really
I was
are.
gonna ask if she had any what side effects that she had from the chemotherapy or anything other than fatigue.
She lost all of her hair.
She did.
She didn't have any eyelashes or eyebrows,
Aw.
which they're coming in now. And
Yeah,
and I was rubbing her head the other day, and it's just so fuzzy at this point. So, but like I said, aside from that, you would never know.
Wow. That's good.
At one point, I did want to mention before they started the chemo, her leg it just kept growing and growing, and so at one point, her good leg was like 18.75 centimeters. Her bad leg was 33
Oh
centimeters.
my
Wow.
word.
So I mean, and they were concerned that even if they removed it, that there might be muscle damage or tissue damage or something because of all the pressure from the fluid that was in the leg. But I'm so thankful for the hospital because they really stepped in. And I mean, if my daughter or Killian, the father, didn't understand, the hospital would break it down for them. I mean, and make sure that they understood. And one of her doctors was actually a father of a baby that was like 2 months older than Lila. And so he really related, and he went way out of his way to make it known, this is what I would do in those circumstances. So Sydney really relied on him when it came down to certain decisions.
Yeah.
So they initially thought that they were going to have to remove the whole leg because the type of cancer it is, it branches. So it starts wrapping around and then it branches. There's only been about 30 cases in the world of this.
Wow.
So they don't really know what they're dealing with. It's called TMMTI, and it's internal tendon duplication. That's what I was talking about, how it branches. So originally they thought they were going to have to take the leg up to the hip. Well, after her chemo in August, maybe in September, before her operation, they did another PET scan. I mean, and anytime they did a PET scan and MRI, regardless of what it was, they had to put the baby under.
Yeah.
So she was spending a lot of time, under sedation just because she was getting all these tests. But the test showed it was gone in the top of her leg. So they felt good about just removing it right above the knee. So that way, it would be easier for her to walk and sit and do things. So, I mean, it's just been,
What a blessing.
a terrible experience, but at the same time, it's been uplifting just watching her, So, I mean,
I'll never forget the first video I saw of her crawling.
I was gonna say that.
After,
Yeah.
yes, after the amputation, it was like she was getting it.
She was
getting it.
Yeah.
She wasn't going. She wasn't getting caught by nobody. She
Yeah.
was like, "You can't catch me." She was faster than any child. That you know what I mean? It was like she didn't even care.
Nope.
She had
And
no
she
care.
would actually, so she has an older brother and an older sister, and they would be like underneath the bed or something, playing on their computers or whatever they were playing on. And so Lila crawled into the bedroom and she stands up against the rails or the steps that go up to their bunk beds. And you know she's sitting there looking at it thinking, I'm gonna do this one day.
Yeah.
And she is at
Yeah.
this point, you
Yeah.
know. So I mean,
That's so cool.
So you said it was a genetic.
they thought it was a genetic mutation originally. So they thought that it caused fluid buildup. So they
Right.
thought when they put the drain in it that the fluid would come out. When actually what happened was of course she had the hole in her leg, so they couldn't, just immediately make it go away. But
Right.
when they started her on chemo, some of the cancer was coming out of the hole. So my daughter constantly had to change the bandage and
Wow.
and keep it clean. So during this time frame, they actually spent the end of June into the end of July is how much time they spent in the hospital at one time.
Wow.
And during that time frame, the insurance company was only allowing one shot per week, which her immune system's down at this point.
Yeah.
So they were only willing to pay for one shot a week. So the hospital was like, you can't leave the hospital and leave yourself unprotected like that. So they ended up keeping the baby the whole month until they got it straight with the insurance company.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, the last chemo, she should have been able to ring a bell, which the bell was broke.
Oh,
So I think the nurses, and it was right around Christmas, or it was towards Thanksgiving, I guess, but they had Christmas stuff up, and so they gave them a Christmas stocking or some sort of present. But I mean, the whole hospital staff, my daughter just was, she loves them. I mean, she's like, I would like to be a doctor kind of at this point,
Yeah.
just to help. So, if anything, and I've told my daughter this, she said, what good can come from this? And in my theory is that if someone else is going through this, they're just as scared as Sydney was at the beginning of this. And so
Right.
she can kind of help, and she's found support groups online too.
Mm-hmm.
So she had me join a grandparent site where, other grandparents are going through the same thing that I'm going through. And it's helped out a lot. It really has to be able to talk to somebody who's dealing with it. Mine's a little different because there's only 30 cases in the world. But, I mean, there's so many kids that are dealing with cancer
Yeah.
that it is truly amazing. I mean, that.
And I think support groups are great. I'm
I
a
really do.
cancer survivor and of breast cancer 11 years ago. And at first
Yay.
going through treatments, I was like, I got this, I'm positive, I've got a positive outlook and this and that. But as time went on is when I started getting more involved in support groups because it became tougher to look back at what I had dealt with to process all that.
It is.
And to talk to someone else who had
That's
been through it or what,
Mhm.
it does help
It
a
does.
lot,
It does.
to say, oh my gosh, you did that too, or you felt that way. Oh, I don't feel so alone.
Yes, that is something that you feel is alone. How can this be happening? Whether it's to you, whether it's to your child, whether it's to your grandchild. Why me? Why is this happening?
I think it's great that you also have the doctors that break down every single thing for the parents to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Because
you had said
they're scared.
before, like that's the most important thing is to have a great doctor that knows.
Well-
Yeah, and I mean, they know what these parents are going through. They deal with it on a daily basis. So just having that support system, it just adds more faith in the whole, everything that's going on, that it's going to be okay. So, yeah.
We've talked about it before on in Mary Ann's journey, and me being a survivor helping her was the first couple of weeks till you know what you have and what the plan is to fix it. Somebody told me, said, this will be the hardest week or two of your life. And I'm like, well, I mean, we're talking chemo, this and that. How can this be the hardest week? But the fear of the unknown was really the hardest of it all. Once they have a plan and you understand what you're going to do, it does help.
Yeah,
But I can
absolutely.
imagine only 30 cases in the world and you have no idea what this is. There's
You don't
not
know
a lot
how-
of research.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be just
Yes.
devastating.
So, I mean, when she was born on February 2nd, 2020. So her birthday is 02/02/2020, and you can read it in reverse. So I kind of took that as she's lucky.
Yeah.
So she's going to be, I don't know why she has this, but she is going to kick cancer's butt.
Mhm.
And that's kind of, I think, what got me through the whole thing. Because so many times, like I said, I just wanted to sit down and cry because
Sure.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were going to do to this poor baby, if it was going to hurt her or, what. But like we talked about earlier, it didn't seem to affect her at all.
Now, what about the other siblings? I mean, how did they deal with
They
what she
were,
was going through?
Actually, Cincinnati Children's Hospital put together a book for each child,
Oh, cool.
explaining why Lila's been at the hospital for so long and what's going to happen. And, so each child, there was one for the boy who was 7 and my granddaughter who is 9. So they made 2 books for them. They're very protective of her. So whenever they go over to Sydney's house, you'll always find one of them carrying her around. I mean, she's the baby.
Yeah.
I was watching a video of her the other day, and Adelaide was doing her homework with NTI. Well, I don't know if she was doing her homework at that point. She might have been eating breakfast. But the baby crawled over to the table, and of course Adelaide was sitting there eating, which is her sister. And Adelaide saw her coming up to the side of the table and grabbed some of her food out of her, shoved it in her mouth.
Feed
She
the little
doesn't
bird.
even have to say a thing. She just crawls over there.
Uh-huh.
They're gonna take
That's
care
so
of her.
sweet.
Well, and the older they get, she's gonna be their hero too.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
gonna see her doing all kinds of things. And with her being a baby, that is, that's the perfect time for, I mean, unfortunately it happened, but it's the perfect time for it to happen.
Right.
Because
Right.
she will learn to walk, to ride a bike.
Yeah,
to
it's
do
not going to
all
be,
the
life isn't going to
things.
be
Right.
different.
She won't know any
She's
different.
She's not going to know
Sure.
any different.
Well,
And when I was at the doctor's office yesterday getting fitted for the sleeve, there was a picture of a lady that had a prosthetic on the wall, and it was just like a leg. I mean, it looked, unless you looked at the corner, you couldn't, it looked like there's pantyhose right there in the corner. But aside from that, Sydney goes, Mom, that's a prosthetic. I'm like, oh my gosh. So they've come so far, and you see so many athletes that are out there.
That's true.
Winning races and gymnastics.
Sure.
And,
Olympians.
yes,
Mhm.
it's very inspirational. So I'm hoping, if anything, she can be an inspiration to somebody else.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
she already is.
Yeah.
But
For
when you
sure.
asked and somebody said, what good can come out of this? She's a 1-year-old inspiration to so many others.
Mhm.
Because you have to think, if this baby can do this, that gives me hope to
Right.
push through
Absolutely.
this,
Yeah.
It was more hard on the adults
I
around
think
her
so.
than it was for
Mhm.
her.
Yeah.
Because she didn't know.
She didn't.
What
She
was
just
going
wanted to be
on.
loved and fed, and that's
And that, and she's loved, for sure, for sure.
She was actually a little down on weight when she was going through chemo, so that was another side effect that she had. And they said that, there may be a possibility due to the chemo that she might have some disabilities or have some developmental disabilities. But from what I can tell right now, she's like straight on point with any 1-year-old I've ever seen. And she's starting to pick up weight. She's still a tiny little girl, but she's starting to pick up weight. And so
That's wonderful.
But her
Yeah.
spirit, I mean, the smiles on her face, it's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Really is beautiful.
She is. She's a sweetheart. Maybe sometime I can bring her over here and meet us if we can ever get through this.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I
That's
was
COVID.
thinking, what a horrible time to go through all
I
this
know,
with
right?
during
So,
COVID.
yes, I couldn't even go to the hospital
Yeah.
to see her at any
And that
time.
made it so much worse.
It
on you.
did.
Absolutely.
It did, but my daughter, luckily, she would FaceTime me so I could see them in the hospital.
Thank goodness for FaceTime.
Oh, no,
right?
What would we do without the internet?
I know.
So I did get to see her. She spent a lot of time when she was in the hospital. When they would give her chemo, they would give her this thing to hold, and it had a light in it, and it just went around in circles. So it kept her entertained. She was like mesmerized watching the thing. But I mean, and I think they did her medication at nighttime, so it was more likely that she'd be asleep when they're done with it. She actually had a port in her chest, so that's where they put it. Of course, my daughter had to take care of that as well, and she did a really good job keeping everything clean, and Killian did too. So I mean, she's taking it like a champ, and I don't know what else to
The
say.
strength of a mother on top of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You do what you need to do
Absolutely.
for sure. So
And that's funny you say that, because I actually told my daughter how proud I am of you for handling
that's
it.
awesome.
And she said, Mom, I do what any mom would do. And I'm like, that is a good point.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
do what you
Well,
gotta
we
do.
don't ever think that we're doing stuff like that, but I think when you look back and you see, like, your children, being a mom like that. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just
It
inspirational.
really is. It really is.
Now, do they live close to you now, or?
They actually live in the Highlands, so I went and picked them up yesterday, and then the doctor was off Hurstbourne Lane, so I left Shepherdsville, went out to, the Highlands, shot it back out to Westport Road, but yeah, she likes it out there, because it's close to places that she was working at one point, so she was working in different restaurants and stuff, and usually those restaurants, she can make pretty good money, but since she's not working right now, Dad is working, but it's just kind of a good location for them. It's not expensive where she's living, and
Right.
it's close to the park, so she can take the kids when it warms up, go walking and
That's
stuff.
good.
But it is better than Colorado.
I was gonna say.
I was
Oh,
gonna
gosh,
say,
yeah.
they're not going
Much
back to
better.
Colorado,
No,
are they?
no. Because when all this started, that's where they were. And so
Mhm.
can you imagine where I was at this
No.
point? I'm ready to jump on an airplane and take off up there. And of course, if I drove, it would have taken probably 18 or 20 hours to get
I
there. So
guarantee
I
you.
was like,
Oh,
I don't know what to do. But
I don't know if you would be anything like me. I'd be like driving like a mad woman just to get there. Like time would stand still. Just get me there. Just get me there. I'm glad they were able to come here though, to be
Me
close
too.
to the family and
Me
everything.
too.
That extra support means a lot.
She actually asked me here in the near future if I would be interested in babysitting the baby.
Oh well, heck yeah,
So
no
that
brainer.
they can go. I know, but she's getting to the point where she's healthier now, and she was saying that she and her fiance would like to go have a dinner, and I'm like,
yeah.
I'll keep her.
Oh, I'm sure they would enjoy some
Exactly.
time of normalcy,
After all this is gone that
Mhm.
they've been through, yeah. So I was like, absolutely, I'll keep that baby.
Did you have to say, let me think about it, I'm not sure. Yes,
Well, I
yes.
tend to buy stuff for the kids.
Mhm.
So I went and got her a sippy cup that she likes, and I mean, she's drank out of it a little bit when she comes over, but I know she likes chocolate milk. So I get her chocolate milk. She likes cheese puffs, so I've got all the grandkids' favorites. But yeah, she'll sit there and chew those cheese puffs up and.
So I'll call you grandma, or do they call you Nana? or
Grandma.
Your
It's
grandma.
And actually, they've started spelling it when they text me. They text GRAMMA. I'm like, well, that's cute.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, grandma.
Because when they told me I was grandma, I was like, when I think of grandma, I think of an older person.
Right.
I'm not quite yet there yet.
I like my Nana. I'm Nana.
Yeah.
Yes, I like Nana.
I'm Mimi.
See, I like Mimi too.
I'm an in, yeah.
But once I give it to you, you're
You're stuck
You're
with
stuck
it.
with it.
And I tried to, let's see, I was trying to tell the older kids, you all can't call me Gigi.
Yeah.
Grandma.
Yeah.
We can't call you that. That's not your name.
It's funny when they name you, that's what you're getting.
She tried to change it up.
Yeah.
They ain't having it.
That's not your name.
Yeah.
That's not your name.
Now, my mom was hit with Bobo, and that was her name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. That's such an amazing, inspirational story that you brought to us today. I'm so glad that you're here.
Yes,
Well,
thank you so
having
much for
me.
sharing.
Thank you
Yeah.
for
I
having
love
me.
it.
Sydney actually posted a video the other day of Lila likes to. They have some roast beef or something she had bought at the store, and we have a cat. She has a cat, and so of course Lila would take a bite and then hold it out for the cat.
Oh, that's too funny.
So
That's
she's
great.
already sharing. She likes to share.
We need to give a shout out to our sponsors today. Kentucky Farm Bureau North, Metro One Heating and Cooling, Chrome Divas, Anytime Plumbing LLC, Louisville Harley Davidson, BMW. I don't know what that says. I don't know what that is. My husband and his writing. Love you. Daddy's Place, JC Lawn Care, Maryville Dentistry, Carney's Motorsports, and Carney's Motorsports 2. All of those right now are the sponsorships that we have for the year of 2021. And if you know anybody that would like to sponsor for several different events that we have throughout the year, give us a call at 502-408-0327, or you can get a hold of us on our through our email at rideoroutbreastcancer@gmail.com. Also, on Wednesday nights, come on out to Danny's Place for our Queen of Hearts drawing. That queen has not been found yet, and the payout is well over $4,000. It's creeping up on $5,000. I don't have all the numbers for that, but it's way up there. It's $2 ticket. Anybody got those numbers?
You can also get the tickets on PayPal.
PayPal.me// Queen of Hearts RTROBC.
And also, if you would like to donate to Ride to Ride Out Cancer, you can go to that website and donate so that we can help other people who need it, other people with cancer that need it.
Mhm.
And also, please keep watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share on the Journey's Reel. Call in if you have questions.
Pick up
or
the
just,
phone, give us a call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's some people out there probably had a few questions or two for Dawn, and she would have been more than happy to give you a shout. Okay, so I've got the numbers now. $8,465 is what it's up to, and the payout is $4,234.
Woo!
Yay, Dawn. Now, this is the second time that we have gotten to this point since we've started Queen of Hearts, and we started Queen of Hearts like 2019. So this is the second biggest pot right now.
How many
And,
numbers are left?
well, that's a good question. I know there's a lot of numbers. Well, he's going to
30%.
check that too. But if you go on our webpage, we are so not ready for that. She was like, and I'm like, I don't know. So if you go on Ride to Ride Out Cancer, Ride to Ride Out Breast Cancer, we do have the board pictured on there, and Whip's writing. So hold on, let's see. There's 24 numbers left. What?
That could really get high.
I know, it
yeah,
really
it
could
really
get
could.
high. So it's a one-ticket draw for those of you who don't know what Queen of Hearts is. It's just a one-ticket draw. So it's basically anybody's game. It doesn't matter. Anybody, for the numbers that are not taken, you can pick any number you want. Anybody can. But as long as your name and the number that you want is on that ticket that got drawn, that pot is yours if we find the Queen of Hearts. Now, if you want to win a little bit of money, you have to be present. If it's a Jack, Queen, King, Ace, or Joker, it's a $50 payout. So you have to be present for that. So Danny's Place is located on Kentucky Highway 44, 2858 Kentucky Highway 44 in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Come see us. It's a blast.
Yeah, we have a good time.
Yes,
We do. The
do
drawing's
have a
at
good time.
8 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Drawing's at 8 o'clock. All right. Anybody else got anything?
else?
Dawn, I really appreciate you
I do
being
too.
here tonight. It was
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
to hear some
Sure.
inspiration and a good insight
And you
to
were
that
our
story.
first special guest, so yeah.
I hope you had a good time.
This will go down in history. Dawn Bradbury was our first special guest tonight, and I love you for it. Thank you so much.
You are so
And thank you
welcome.
for joining us tonight for the Journey's Reel. We'll see you.